As the nights get chillier and the days get shorter, you might find yourself longing for warmer climes. If you're lucky, maybe you could hop on a plane and visit some sunny resort. But if you don't happen to be flush with cash, a little digital escapism might be in order. For this list, we've got some suggestions of games set in toasty locations. Maybe it'll bring a smile to your face and make you feel all warm and cozy, or maybe it'll make you even more miserable as you long to be somewhere warmer. Heck, maybe you're not even watching this during winter, and that's fine too. Whatever the case, we're going to attempt to whisk you off to some places where you wouldn't have to feel the cold at all. And you can say goodbye to goosebumps, runny noses, and drafty windows. So huddle up next to the heater, slide under a few layers of snuggly blankets, and prepare for a balmy journey through some of the toastiest locations gaming has to offer. I'm Office Ray of Sunshine Ashton from TripleJump, and here are 10 games set in hot locations to warm you up this winter. Number 10, Super Mario Sunshine. We begin our summer tour on the beautiful Isle Delfino, a holiday destination for denizens of the Mushroom Kingdom. This place is so idyllic and so filled with summery holiday tropes that it's literally shaped like a dolphin. In Nintendo Super Mario Sunshine for the GameCube, Mario visits Isle Delfino along with Princess Peach and some toadstool chaperones for a bit of a vacation. It's a nice choice for a spot of relaxation, with crystal waters and pristine beaches as far as the eye can see. Alas, all is not well in Isle Delfino, with a mysterious slimy goop appearing all over the island and a shadowy vandal leaving graffiti everywhere. In an extraordinary example of a judicial system gone wrong, Mario is instantly sentenced for this crime and is tasked with clearing up the entire island. It's like when Lightning McQueen had to fix that road in Radiator Springs, only Mario didn't actually do what he was being accused of. Still, miscarriages of justice aside, Isle Delfino is a nice place to explore, and what could warm you up more than a bit of manual labour in sweltering heat? Mario even has a near infinite supply of water strapped to his back to cool him down. I guess being forced into excessive community service on a tropical island isn't all that bad. Number 9, Forza Horizon 3. Australia is a pretty warm country, consisting mostly of dry, arid desert with a smattering of tropical rainforests here and there. It's the perfect place to run away to if you're tired of frosty mornings and icy car windscreens. Microsoft's 2016 addition to the Forza Horizon franchise gave us the opportunity to travel to this lovely country for the low price of a Game Pass membership, as Forza Horizon 3 took the thrills and spills of open-world racing down under. While the map isn't geographically accurate, the developers worked hard to create an authentic representation of Australia's diverse landscape. You'll be kicking up sand along a picturesque coastline one minute and whipping past tropical ferns and palm trees the next. There's nothing quite like recklessly putting pedal to the metal on a sunny day, in a sanctioned and controlled automobile racing environment, that is. Be aware that with tropical climates come tropical storms, meaning that clear skies aren't a certainty, and the occasional monsoon comes a cooling. Also, if you somehow get sick of the wonderful weather, you could purchase the expansion and take a quick trip up Blizzard Mountain. Not sure why you'd want to do that though. It's bloody chilly. Take me back to the beach, please. Number 8, Pokemon Sun and Moon. For our next sunny trip, we're off to the region of Alola. This pocket monster-infested paradise is the setting for Pokemon Sun and Moon and Pokemon Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon, and boasts pristine beaches, beautiful forest walks, and even a volcano, just to add to the hot vibe. Like other regions in the Pokemon series, this one is based on a real-life location, specifically the US state of Hawaii. Alola has a tropical climate, which is composed of a Hawaii-esque cluster of islands. It's also home to a diverse array of colourful wildlife to spot and appreciate. Because this is a Pokemon game, this flora and fauna is waiting for you to trap it inside balls and force it to fight. But this kind of behaviour in real-world Hawaii will probably result in you being rightfully thrown in jail. Just a little free travel tip for you there. To further the whole tropical feel, Alola even has its own form of previously introduced Pokemon that are specific to this environment. However, certain of these forms, like Vulpix and Sandslash, are decidedly frosty. I guess they had to adapt chilly traits to survive the heat. Evolution really is incredible. Number 7, Dead or Alive Extreme Beach Volleyball. What would you do if you won some money in a fighting tournament, fluttered it all in a casino, and then walked out with riches beyond your wildest dreams? Odds are, you'd move somewhere warm and live a life of luxury filled with golden sunsets and white sands. Well, that's exactly what eccentric fighter Zach from Dead or Alive did in Dead or Alive Extreme Beach Volleyball, purchasing a tropical island, naming it after himself, and living happily ever after. Respect to that man. Oh wait, that's not all he did. He apparently also invited all of the female characters from Dead or Alive's fighting roster to Zack Island under the pretense of another fighting tournament. Zack, that's very dishonest and kind of creepy. I rescind my declaration of respect. Luckily, the girls did exactly what any group of people who despise each other would do when invited to a tropical island under false pretenses. They got their bikinis on and made the best of it. Cue 2 weeks of sandy frolicking, poolside relaxation, and volleyball in the shade of exotic palm trees. Unfortunately for Zack, once the ladies go home, the whole island gets destroyed by a volcanic eruption. We hope that Zack learned his lesson, but there are at least 2 sequels with pretty much the exact same premise, so I guess not. Number 6, Dead Island. Welcome to Benoi, the last of our tropical island destinations. We really don't recommend giving this one a visit though, on account of a bad case of the zombie plague. 2011's Dead Island is set on a fictional Benoi, which is located off the coast of the non-fictional Papua New Guinea. Despite having a settler population since 1895 and sustaining a bustling tourist trade, much of Benoi is still wild, unexplored and unknown. Maybe that's where the zombie virus came from. If you haven't been able to tell by our repeated use of the Z word, despite its natural beauty and posh hotels, Benoi is beset by a very nasty zombie outbreak. The player's job is to take charge of the 4 playable characters and try to get them off the island, exploring beaches, forests, and even an offshore maximum security prison as they do so. The juxtaposition of an idyllic location with shambling hordes of groaning flesh-eaters is something that really makes Dead Island stand out from the crowd, with most developers up until then associating the undead creatures with dimly lit facilities or murky graveyards. It just goes to show that no matter how bright and picturesque the location, it can still turn into a living nightmare given the right circumstances. What a happy thought. Number 5, Assassin's Creed Origins. Alright, we're really getting warm now. Assassin's Creed Origins is the 10th major entry into the venerable series, and its story begins in the very distant past of 49 BC in the transcontinental country of Egypt. While Egypt is well known for a lot of things, including a big windy river and some rather large pointy buildings, it's also well known for being extremely sunny and dry, with most of its land surface consisting of desert. Assassin's Creed Origins puts you slap bang in the middle of all of this heat and sand, and sticks you in the sensible desert boots of Bayek as he embarks on a quest for revenge. On the way, he'll become involved with the frontrunners of both the Assassin Brotherhood and the Templar Order that feature so prominently in the rest of the series, and will explore how their conflict came to be. Origins. I get it now. Throughout your action-packed adventure, you'll be exploring all that sunny Egypt has to offer, including nighttime desert vistas and spooky sandy catacombs. It really is the complete ancient Egyptian experience. Honestly, is there a better way to explore the history of this majestic nation? I don't Sphinx, so. Number 4, Recore. From the desert nation of Egypt to the desert world of Far Eden. If a country mostly covered in hot sand wasn't enough for you, maybe a whole planet will suffice. Recore is a 2016 action-adventure platformer released on the Xbox One and Windows, and tells the story of colonists escaping a diseased Earth. Protagonist Jewel Adams finds herself awoken from cryosleep in mysterious circumstances while the planet is being terraformed, and she heads out into the barren landscape on a quest of adventure and discovery. Thankfully, she has more than just a scarf and a pair of goggles to combat the harsh environment, as she's accompanied by cool robot pal Mac. This metallic, orb-powered fellow can take on various forms throughout the game, and helps Jewel to navigate the wreckage-strewn desert and dusty caves, as well as fight back against the various robot enemies the pair will encounter. Of course, if one desert planet isn't enough for you, there are plenty of other sun-blasted rocks out there in video game land. Pandora from the Borderlands series seems to be mostly desert, and then there's Arrakis from the Dune video game, and those are just off the top of my head. There's a whole galaxy of desolate spheres out there, you know, if that's your thing. Number 3, Burning Ranges. Another way to feel toasty on a chilly day is to literally surround yourself with fire. We of course do not recommend this in real life, but it's totally something you can do in video games. There are quite a few firefighting titles that make this possible, including Ember, which puts an outrageous and cartoony spin on the concept. We've picked out Burning Rangers though, a futuristic action game in which everything is on fire. Among one of the first big budget games to use firefighting as its focus, 1998's Burning Rangers for the Sega Saturn sees players taking on the role of one of the titular rangers as they combat raging infernos in futuristic locations. These fire-engulfed locales include a power plant, an underwater complex, and a space station. I can see the power plant being an issue, but surely the other two can be solved by flooding and exposing to a vacuum respectively, right? Oh, there are civilians trapped too. I guess that's why I'm not a firefighter. Come to think of it, despite the promise of being equipped with futuristic firefighting equipment and jetpacks, heroically dashing into billowing flames probably isn't for me. Maybe just an evening in front of a cosy fireplace is more my thing. Number 2, Little Inferno. This is more like it. Quirky 2012 indie title Little Inferno invites you to spend quality time in front of a brick fireplace, warming up, thinking about this and that, and setting fire to all of your belongings. Wait, what was that last one? Though Little Inferno can be loosely classed as a puzzle game, there's no real scoring system or way of losing. Instead, the aim of the game is to experiment with burning things, in order to earn money to purchase more things to burn. Different things burn in different ways, and burning interesting combinations of items can result in explosions or chain reactions. Among the burnable items are toys, electronics, and even bugs, all ready and willing to be thrown into the fire to combat the encroaching cold. Look, I get that sitting and watching a fireplace can be a hypnotising experience, but there is a line that one can cross when it comes to being fascinated with burning stuff. Ordering numerous items from a catalogue only to throw them into the fire as soon as they arrive seems like it crosses that line quite a bit. Is Little Inferno a cosy puzzle game or a training programme for arsonists? I'm not qualified to say. And number 1, Dante's Inferno. Well, it doesn't get much hotter than this. Set in the realm known colloquially as the Hot Place, Dante's Inferno takes us down into the fiery depths of the underworld for the ultimate in scorching hot real estate. EA's 2010 action game tells the story of Dante, a Templar knight who takes out the Grim Reaper and then steals his scythe, before embarking on a journey through hell to rescue his beloved Beatrice. Of course, not all the circles of hell that Dante will visit are super toasty. Treachery, for example, is completely devoid of warmth. For the purpose of this list though, we're focusing on Heresy, the 6th circle, where things are particularly spicy. Filled with the writhing, burning remains of those who worshipped false idols and other such heretics, this infernal landscape is accentuated by the eternally raging fires of searing punishment. It's a really convenient place for barbecues, if you can deal with the constant agonised screaming. You know, come to think of it, maybe some of these places are a little too toasty for comfort. Have I gone too far with the whole hot places thing? I'm getting uncomfortably warm just thinking about it, so if you'll excuse me, I'm off to play some Lost Planet.